School of Barbecue at Big Lee's. Today we're going to be getting into a little bit of prep work, and we're going to be prepping. These are beef short ribs. So I'm going to show you how we kind of get in here. First, I like to kind of take them right out of the package, cut this cryovac open, and I don't know if you can see it here, but this is a really huge hunk of meat. It's got what you'd call a fat cap if we were dealing with a brisket or a pork butt running through here, running through the different sections of the muscles down here. In between the bone, we've got some meat, then we've got a layer of fat, and then we've got more meat up here. We've got some silver skin, we've got a random piece of meat, huge pockets of fat like here. I'll trim it down a little bit, but when you see the finished product of these things, you'll see that a lot of that fat's going to render out. So I'll just start here with a super sharp boning knife. I just kind of take maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch at a time off, with each pass of my knife. You can always cut more fat off, but you can't put it back once you cut it off. That's kind of my rule of thumb. So I try not to cut off too much in any one pass. You don't have to do it all in one swipe of the knife. I might come over here, take a little bit off, nothing crazy. Another little pocket of fat here. And you typically want to cut away from your hand, or cut away from any of your body parts. Just want to reduce the chance of injuring yourself with a sharp blade. And then this guy here, some people would say take it off. I'll leave it on. Once it's done cooking, it'll be a nice little snack, a pitmaster's choice. I'll slice that off, and we'll sample that later on once that's done. That's always fun. I just take a little bit off, and some people say, man, I can't believe you're going to leave that silver skin on there. Well, basically, all of that silver skin there, it's a super thin connective tissue. And basically what's going to happen as this cooks nice and low and nice and slow, we're going to cook these between 225 degrees and 250 degrees for probably a full 12 to 14 hours. Sometimes we'll let them go even longer. But that connective tissue is gonna melt, it's gonna start to separate, and it's gonna render. And when we slice into these, and when you bite into these, you won't even know this is there with the way we cook our meat. So now on a slab of spare ribs, I would take the membrane off, but with these guys, I've learned to leave them on. And that membrane, and also this membrane on the back, they act as somewhat of a almost like a glue. Once this is finished cooking, the meat's going to be so tender, and it's going to help hold all this meat together on the bone. It's going to be super tender, and when you leave that membrane on, and when you leave a little bit of this here, it helps to keep the meat intact. You'll see that we're going to put a dry rub on these, and I'll show you how to dry rub those in a minute. That's how you properly prep and trim a couple slabs of our beef short ribs. And these beef short ribs come from the plate section of the steer. If you want beef short ribs like ours, talk to your butcher. Be sure to ask for plate short ribs. That's the region of the steer that it comes from. It comes from the plate versus the chuck. If you ask for chuck short ribs, you're going to get some smaller 4-bone ribs. These are super long, 8 to 9 inch, some of them even 10-inch bones. And we get normally about 1 pound of meat on each one of these bones. This last bone here on the end, it kind of as the meat cooks, this little portion here tends to shrink up, and I'll show you that later on in another video. It tends to shrink up and kind of draw off to the side, so you get 1 small rib and then 2 big ribs. We trim that meat off a lot of times, and if a customer wants it, we can sell it to them. It won't be the same regular price. It'll be a different price. Or what we typically will do is fillet this meat right off of this bone, and we'll do beef short rib burn ends, and that's an original thing that we've been doing here for about a year, and our customers absolutely love them. So we'll show you how to put a dry rib on these in the next video. All right, that's enough for now. We'll see you guys in the next one.